Okay. 7-1. Stand pledge. Roll call.
Here.
Here. Here. Okay, any announcements, correspondence? Mr. Garrigan?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Approval of September 4th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Board meeting minutes. We all had a chance to review those.
Make a motion to approve the September 4th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Board minutes as presented.
I'll second. First by Manning and second by Turner. Roll call.
Abstain.
Carson? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Turner?
Yes. Yes. All right. Anybody sign up on public comment down there? Is that? No one signed up. Look at that. Old business, BZB 2409, consideration of text amendment village zoning ordinance, Title 10, creating a section 10-5-14, establishing regulations relating to residential and commercial lighting. Mr. Gary.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let the record reflect this is a continuation of the public hearing being held pursuant to public notice in accordance with all state statute and applicable local ordinances. Mr. Chairman, as you recall, last month, we did discuss a proposal for a comprehensive new light ordinance. At that time, I did tender a draft. We did have really good discussion at that meeting. I think there were some really very, very productive comments about how the ordinance could be modified to make it even more sustainable or more consistent with the current trends in lighting regulations. So based on that fact, Mr. Chairman, I have brought back a draft. I wanted, instead of just going through the whole ordinance again, I wanted to very briefly summarize some of the changes and discuss that, and whether that's consistent with the direction that some of the members of the planning commission were looking for. I think one of the biggest aspects, and I want to jump to the chase, I think perhaps the most important change in this proposed draft ordinance is there is a good, healthy discussion about not only sustainability approach, but some type of uniformity, color temperature, regulating the temperature of lighting. So I wanted to direct your attention to section G, correlated color temperature. I did make a modification that addresses all lighting sources except for public playing fields must have a correlated color temperature, CCT, at or below 3,200 degrees Kelvin K. Do you know, maybe allow Mr. Turner, who's an expert in lighting, provide some additional illumination, but there are certain levels with regards to temperatures, obviously based on the temperatures of the lighting itself. Generally, the lower the temperature, I believe, the warmer the light. Higher the temperature, generally you get more for like playing fields and things like that. So I use this number based on 3,200. It's based on some other ordinances that I looked at as it relates to trying to address dark skies, sustainability approach. So this is a first approach trying to regulate temperature, not only obviously the foot candle illumination level, but trying to address a uniformity in the lighting itself and trying to address the temperature. So that's one change proposed. Some other small changes. I did add some language about digital outdoor displays. We do have some, as you know, separate, we have regulations in our sign ordinance that does regulate EMV signs, but this is also perhaps a little more specific. It is consistent with our regulation for EMV signs, but it provides some additional illumination. Unfortunately, we've had some issues with one EMV sign on Main Street There's been a lot of discussion about that, and I know some boards had some challenges, so I tried to address some additional language in there to try to address the illumination level of the digital outdoor display signs. So that's one other modification. I did add some additional language. There is some language in this that does address the foot candle illumination for canopies for gas stations. I did find some language that now proposed a illumination level for basically canopies or drive-through windows. We do have a lot of drive-through windows. We have a new development coming in, which will probably be numerous drive-through windows. For the first time, I'm proposing to regulate the illumination level under a canopy for a drive-through itself. So that's one other additional modification. With respect to, I did add some language, which gives us a right for inspection for post-installation. So as you know, one of the challenges when any type of new development opens, many times staff has to work with the developer to end user to modify the lighting. Sometimes there's complaints, neighborhood complaints. So this proposed language does give staff some additional powers to have a post inspection to make sure that the lighting of any future development is consistent, not only with this ordinance, but again, mitigates any negative externalities on properties. And with that, those are proposed changes that I modified, Mr. Chairman. So with that, I'd be more than happy to welcome a discussion.
Okay. Staff, any questions?
No.
Ms. Carstensen?
Inspection 30 days after. Would this, I guess, I don't know how to ask this. Every time they redo the light, we're gonna do this?
Well, there's new installation of a new development.
It's new and.
For example, like in Kia, of course, Kia would probably be legally grandfathered in.
Right.
For the record, I believe Kia dealership does conform with this ordinance, but let's just use that as an example. Within a month, we would basically go out there, make sure there's no major, basically what we call, in the simplest terms, what we call light trespass. In other words, the light's not trespassing to, that's I guess the general theme of this whole ordinance is to try to minimize what we call light trespass. You can see that that word is actually used in numerous ordinances I actually referred to. It's actually, you understand, trespass. It's a form of light trespass. So that's generally the complaint with residents are complaining they can see the light source or it's having an impact on their property. So we would go out there within 30 days, make sure that that all the lights, fixtures, you can't see the light source. If you walk around the perimeter, make sure there's no, you can't see the light source, and that it complies with the village ordinances.
Yeah, I guess I just appreciated the vibe that you were talking about last time, and if somebody replaces the light with something that isn't in here, but it's not a new development, is there an opportunity to hold them accountable to that?
Well, there's languages that if there's any type of, even if it's technically legally non-conforming, if defer to our council, whether this is legal or not, but if it's not legally conforming, it's having a negative impact on the property, it has an adverse impact on the property, and people are complaining about that. There is language in here that gives us an opportunity to work with that property in order to require them to comply. And that is, that's kind of a new wrinkle that, I've seen that in numerous ordinances. Now the question of we're not home rule, I'm going to defer to Mr. Pacelli to maybe outline some of the challenges of that, but I did incorporate some language in there, and if it's not legally valid, we'll have to look at that again.
No, I mean, I think we'd have to get creative with regards to potentially use this type of arguments, but I'm sure what the theory behind it is, which would how I've seen it, the aspects of trespass, so we can wordsmith it and but I'm comfortable, and Mr. Garrigan's is knowledgeable about planning and zoning issues like right now, so I'm very comfortable.
So I think that tries to address your concern if there is, if there, theoretically, anybody, the existing use is putting new lighting on, they have to comply. So let's say we have a car dealership that's been here for 20 years and they decide they want to put all new lighting up, new lighting standards, they would have to comply with this ordinance. They would not be legally grandfathered in or, regards to our old ordinance. So they would have to basically adhere to this ordinance. The question is, what happens if there's existing lighting and it doesn't comply with this ordinance? Typically, it would be legally non-conforming. If there's no complaints about it, be frank, they'll probably continue to be allowed to operate their existing lighting standards. But if there is a complaint, then we'll hopefully try to address it.
Where's that language in here for inspections and or
Inspections.
nuisance?
Oh,
I see the inspection portion, but that's like new
Yes.
build.
Give me 1 second here. It's in, I think it's number F, page 3, Chairman. Okay, number 1, I'm sorry, page number 3, Mr. Chairman, under G, all other, okay, it says all other outdoor lighting features lawfully installed prior to and operable on the effective date of this ordinance from which the title is derived are exempt, i.e. legally non-conforming, from all requirements unless, number 1, existing outdoor lighting fixtures are replaced as per our just discussion, removed or reinstalled after the effective date of this ordinance. Number 2, existing outdoor lighting systems are determined to be a nuisance to the adjoining owner of the occupants, or that it creates a traffic hazard to operations of automotive vehicles or public thoroughfares, and deemed to be a nuisance by the zoning administrator, and shall notify the responsible party and shall otherwise appropriate corrective action as otherwise provided in this title.
Does that answer your question, Ms. Carson?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Swish?
Just so that I understand, so for like a dealership or a retail center, 173, which is where the big concern was, if their lights are not according to this ordinance, they can stay up only until they would need to be replaced.
That's correct.
Okay, and then, in regards to porch lights for just regular houses, I assume the majority of porch lights are already around what is in this ordinance.
Right, I didn't spell didn't spend a lot of time talking about residential lighting, and there's actually some ordinances do that. That's a question, that's something the planning commission would like me to look at. But there's, generally, again, the same general principles. If there's light trespass, then we could address it. But I don't try to address foot candle illumination, lumen levels for single family homes. But some villages do. That's really a policy issue, whether planning commission and board wants to go there.
Madigan?
Just clarification on 2 things. So related to the inspection, when we say, appropriate to require remedial action within 30 days at the expense of the applicant.
Yes,
So we'll give them an opportunity to correct it. If they
absolutely.
don't do it within 30 days, then we're gonna do it and then bill them for it, correct?
Well, we would probably, I don't think we would do it per se. I think what we would do is probably, either we would take the necessary administrative or legal approach to try to make them adhere or conform to our ordinance. I mean, obviously, we're gonna work with their businesses. In reality, we're gonna work with them. We're not gonna try to bring a hammer down, they're partners in this village, so we're gonna work with them if at all possible.
Okay, and then the lighting variances, the way that this is written, am I understanding that the staff will look at any exceptions, they won't come to us?
Well, it's a twofold answer. Again, this is going to refer to Mr. Sally. It's kind of an administrative relief that, I can see, to be honest, some relief. I can see some developments coming in, asking for relief, especially car dealerships, things like that, to be honest. I just foresee that, based on this ordinance, they may be asking for relief. So provide staff and the planning commission the opportunity to provide that relief, instead of doing a formal variance. Because if we do a formal variance, I suspect you might be seeing variances and every major development that comes through the process. That makes sense. Because every development has uniqueness, every drive-through, every commercial project may have some unique lighting. That's a standard in that company or that store template. And they may seek relief, maybe one small aspect of the site may be in violation or does not conform to this ordinance. So I'm attempting to provide staff some flexibility to provide the applicant some relief if it's necessary, without coming through a formal variance. Now, that may be convoluted and maybe at the end of the day, we have to go through a formal variance.
Well, and then with that, based on your answer, then would staff track that somehow? So like, my world where I work, like, right, it's your lending and all this, so kind of the same thing, like, how would we know, like, staff gave Brittany an exception, but I came through with the same thing and I didn't get it, right? Like, are those things tracked so that we can see?
It would come through, it'd be part of the plan commission, so it's still coming before you. It just be in court, it would be in the staff report, staff would highlight the applicants asking for relief, as part of this development for this one small lighting aspect of the plan, versus coming in for a formal variance.
Mr. Martinez.
You again, Mr. Chairman. No, I have no questions. I'm all for this.
Turner.
I just want to say thank you, Michael. I like the additions. I liked the conversation last time. I think it's probably not perfect, but like we for the first time ever, we're putting a standard around this. It's not going to make everyone happy, but I think it's something that we can have some parameters around and start to build towards, right, throughout the community. And we're using words like uniformity and sustainability and things like that for the first time. So I like it, and I'm in support of it. So that's all I have.
And then staff does plan to work on a separate ordinance for basically public right of way, village lighting, okay? That probably won't be the zoning ordinance, that will probably be in our subdivision code.
Okay.
But I will bring that for your review.
Sounds good. Mr. Turner, question for you. 3,200. What are your thoughts on that?
So when you're walking through like a hotel, you'll see 3,200 in a hallway. And a lot of times you might see like 4,100 in like a corridor in the back of the house, like a hotel. Now, when you're talking about street lighting, like the actual street lighting, when you're talking about the next one, that comes a lot more into play. Something like this, I don't see it being a huge issue, especially if Michael's done some more research around what other communities are doing it, but it's kind of like opinion based at that point. I think that it could go up to 3,800 and it wouldn't be the end of the world, but setting a standard and trying to live within that standard for uniformity, I think is more important than the actual number itself. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I just see a lot of things in the industry as being not quite as flexible on the number. Like it's 35, 3,000, 25.
I've seen 1,500, some of them
1,500.
Yeah.
Right, but I don't see the number 3,200 on my end hardly at all. I know on your end, probably in commercial.
Yeah.
Space.
Yep.
That's what I'm just trying to say. If it's not going to restrict us, just check it out.
right?
That's all. Otherwise, I'm all good with it. So. Yeah. Just.
Do you want to put 3,000 or is that being too arbitrary? Or is that, I'm just not trying to create a hardship.
Right. That's where I'm trying to figure out the number for that one, just because what's more commonly available out there.
Yeah, if anything, I would say it would go up a little bit.
Right.
Okay.
But
3,800?
yeah, but
35.
I see what Commissioner McCarty's talking about. It's and that changes like every year. Manufacturers are like, oh, the new one's 3,700.
Get it?
Right? You know what I mean? So it's tough to set that standard. But yeah, I'd like to do a little research on it and get
Okay.
back to you if I could, to be honest with you.
Please email me.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Was that all you had?
I'm sorry, it's all I got.
I'm not disappointed. The recommendation would be contingent upon Mr. Turner and Mr. Garrigan's feedback to this board, because you're expecting a vote tonight, correct? Which I'm not pressuring, but
No, it's the board, it's the planning commission's prerogative. I was hoping to get out tonight so we can get this to the cow meeting.
No, I think it's appropriate.
okay. I just wanna make sure that the motion is made with contingency that we have this one issue outstanding about the 3,000 plus or minus Kelvin.
3,200 to 3,500, yeah.
Okay.
Just to make sure that it's an appropriate, number that is commonly available in the industry. You know, what's gonna fit properly for our community. Okay, looking for a motion.
I'll motion. Motion for PZB 24-09, consideration of tax amendment to the village zoning ordinance title 10, creating a section 10-5-14, establishing regulations related to residential and commercial lighting. That it be approved as presented with the additional stipulation of Mr. Garrigan getting with Mr. Turner to truly figure out what that number is, whether it's 3,200 or what the standard should be.
And I'll second.
Second by Turner. First by Madigan. Roll call.
Yes. 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 Again.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. That's unanimously. There you go. You can bring that up to the next cow now.
Yes, thank you.
Work through that
Thank you.
detail on that number. Under new business, PZB 2411, consideration of concept plan for property located at the northwest corner of Route 83 and North Avenue to host food trucks and operate as a seasonal retail space.
Yes,
Garrigan.
yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This matter comes before planning commission this evening on a concept plan for a food truck / sale of seasonal goods. For context, this property is located at the northwestern corner of Main Street and North Avenue. I believe previously was a fuel station. It's a vacant lot right now. Just for the record, the property is zone B2, it is commercial. Comp plan does show as commercial, so commercial use of the property is appropriate. The owner of the property has come up with a proposed concept to be allowed to use the property really for combination of food trucks and also the sale of seasonal goods. Example, perhaps in the autumn there would be pumpkin sales or other autumn related items. Christmas would be Christmas trees, etc. So that is actually here this evening. I'm going to allow him to walk you through this unique proposal. There is a very brief summary the applicant has provided the planning commission along with a rough sketch. This applicant staff did very briefly ask the applicant provide some additional information, and perhaps the applicant can provide some additional illumination, some additional information to the planning commission tonight to allow you to have a really thorough review of this proposal. It is a unique proposal. In some ways, I would call this like a pop-up. That's one of the trends now in many villages. Well, we all know what food trucks are. We've seen a real renaissance in food trucks, but there's a whole concept of pop-up retail, pop-up, sales of seasonal goods. We all know historically that the Christmas tree stand that we see those all the time. A lot of times you see people selling pumpkins and a vacant corner. The applicant is kind of proposing that type of typically a temporary use be quasi-permanent. So it'd be like this proposed lot would be used permanently for kind of different pop-up events, whether it's food trucks, or sale of seasonal goods or summer goods. And I'm going to allow the applicant to kind of walk through his vision of the property. So this, staff again believes that a temporary pop-up could be a creative way to provide a use for this property. In addition, the applicant has discussed as Plan B, but there's really no detail of a possible car wash in this property. So with that, I wanted to introduce this proposal concept to the planning commission this evening and allow the applicant, to be fair to him, kind of walk you through what his vision for this property is. With that, I'll do my second.
Do we need to swear anybody in?
I believe the applicant is actually here this evening, so
Will we swear them in for
Yes.
this? If anybody wants to speak about this, please stand up, raise your right hand and be sworn in. Thank you. Please come stand before us and state your name and your address, and then give us your proposal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Jamie Patrick, local resident of 24 years in Antioch. My sons and I actually own the corner at North Avenue, 83, we acquired it. We have a food truck, location in Texas, like very well. It's a very popular thing, and we try to stay with more of the local businesses, so we're not reaching out to like Ernie, we're not reaching out to other towns to grab the business. We actually brought some local, just people that are here now. But they'd like to have a location. They don't want to be seasonal anymore. They want to be able to have their places, not have to shut them down. So I came up with the idea, and then my wife and I, my boys, will end up running more of the pumpkins, Christmas trees. You know, the Smith family, they're more than happy. They're off of 173, like they just supply us with Christmas trees because they don't do them every year. We've talked with Stays, we've talked with all the other different places. Jewel Meyer, we can get discount pumpkins and things like that. What we're going after is more of a family atmosphere. You know, this town, yes, we just brought this to our big year, trying to have that corner has been dead for so many years. Like I said, being here 24 years, it used to be a small gas station, but it was a car wash and a house. And it's been like kind of the eyesore of the entrance of Antioch. And I know my proposal, I don't know if you've seen it, I'm sorry, but I'm not a professional, but I wanted to propose this first before I paid somebody to actually draw the beautiful plans and come up with everything you guys need from. Again, I've approached many different food trucks, Cafe Latte, she would sit in the middle with me, right by the pumpkin, she would be like our main person there, supplying any kind of coffees and stuff like that.
Can I take a look at your
Oh, I'm
proposal
sorry,
there?
I thought we. I didn't read it.
Hey, come on, come on. It's fine.
Don't mind, but-
No,
You know, but-
Yes.
Oh, yeah. it's-
It is in our
Oh, okay.
report too.
Okay,
Sorry. And again, just being able to use it, yes, guys, I can get anybody in there, I can get a car wash, I can get a big restaurant. But what's that gonna do for helping the families in the community here that have businesses that support you guys? And go out to the streets here, go to different locations, they're in different farms, they're in public, why not give them a location? They can actually park, stay, and build that corner up. So, again, I'm here with a proposal of it, or I don't know how it goes. But it's a generic thing to try to get an idea, some feedback and thoughts on it. Lighting, it's good to hear the lighting stuff. The property has all the municipality stuff already there. It's got the water, it's got sewer, it's got electric. I've already talked to 2 different companies from hometown up to Seabirds to help me bring in. I could put poles, we can angle the lights. We'll have trail cameras.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll have trail cameras on the property. There's actually already a camera that faces the property right at the intersection, 24/7. But yeah, I'm trying to do something with a piece of property that actually help the town, but also help, you know, local businesses too. Martinez is the guys that have the one at the BP, they couldn't be here tonight. They want to be part of Latte Cafe lady's gonna be here, but she has prior obligations to show her to be a single mom. So, and these are, can I say that?
Yeah.
These are Rubio, lady, and then we have another family that has. Fire truck, so, and their daughter graduated with my son from Antioch High School. So, we're really trying to help build up, redo the corner and have some, you know, revenue here too at the same time.
okay, at this time then, do you have any questions?
Sure I do.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do.
And I like,
Absolutely. So I'm just looking at the drawing. I'm not all that familiar with this property. So I'm just gonna be honest about that. So it's across the street from the gas station,
Yes, ma'am.
correct? Okay, and what is the parking situation over there, right, currently?
It's all, as you can see right there, it's all, rocks. And it goes, I actually.
In the upper left-hand corner, yeah,
Yeah. So I actually own all the way up to here,
okay,
but all this is all rock, and this is used to be pavement, it's still there.
okay,
But, we'll put some grass killer in there, but this is all still. All in there, and I'll bring in the truckloads of gravel and stuff to put down, kind of like what they have right across the street here. To smooth out and do anything, but this is where I would have like the pumpkins, the Christmas trees and stuff, and then the lot, they would sit right behind us there. They would have their own, they have their generators, they run them right now. So as of right now, they would run, it's all quiet, quiet generators.
and she has a truck that would be there?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh,
It's at her facility right now. If you drive past, she does
Okay.
private events and stuff, but yeah, and she does your local street thing you guys have. So,
Okay.
yep,
If you can come back up towards the
Oh,
mic,
yeah, just so.
right?
if
Sorry,
somebody
guys.
is not- No.
Sorry.
And then, do you think that it would be the number of food trucks that you have on your drawing here? Could you fit that many in there?
yes, I would. They're not large trucks. They average 18 to 20 feet max.
So nine,
Yes.
9 trucks plus the one in the middle, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I'm familiar with the Marquitos, which has excellent food that look right by there. I'm happy they're back.
Yes.
And the other two that you, or three, were there?
The Lugioladia, and then what was your guys' name?
With a fresh fix?
Fresh Fix.
Okay,
And I've got another taco place, which Riquitos actually recommended,
okay.
to Cafe Lady.
Mhm.
And then I'm reaching out to other ones right now, as we speak.
And mostly local.
I didn't want to get them all excited.
Right.
My biggest thing is they're excited. They've been messaging me now for the past couple of months, like, hey, what are we doing? Because I really want to get the pumpkin thing going and the hay bales and stuff, but I kind of missed that market right now.
Yeah. But potentially for like the holiday season with Christmas trees and wreaths and
Yes,
things
ma'am.
like that, correct? Okay, is there like existing lighting on the properties or what would like the hours be? Or what are we talking about? Is it every day? Is it on the weekends?
We would probably gear more towards Thursday through Sunday.
Okay.
To start off with.
Sure,
There is no existing lighting, but there's electric to the property.
Mhm.
I also looked into renting the generators with the low decibels, so that they don't hear them all over the place. So we can have the lighting at each corner to light up. And then we have it where if you pitch, they can help me pitch it so it doesn't run into 83 or North Avenue. So it would face just the property.
I think that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Ms. Carstensen.
I grew up at 505 North Avenue, and I remember washing my van, my parents' van in that car wash, and I think this is a really cool idea. However, I think we need a lot more information. So how big is that property?
We're just under 8.5.
Okay, and then the building that's next to that property, what is, I don't know what that is today.
Shiny
Are they,
silver lining.
okay,
And I also spoke to her for her hours that she's not open. She doesn't
Okay.
have a problem us utilizing the parking lot. Because when they pay to seal theirs, they use ours.
okay. Can you tell me a little bit about the Texas location?
We have 15 trucks down there, our trailers and trucks. Ours runs in a U down there, so all of the trucks are on the outside. And it's a huge like playground in the middle. There's, we do have a bar place we're allowed to have the liquor down there. We have picnic tables, and that's what we have up here. We have picnic tables available. But it's a simple concept. We do maintain it. We have to keep it clean. We provide all the garbage cans. We provide the picnic tables, the lighting, we do everything there. But they pay us rent to keep their vehicles there or their trailers there.
Okay, that was gonna be my next question. What about the bathroom facilities, right? I'm super familiar with these. My family's all in Nashville, these are all over the place, right? I think it's a really good idea, but you have to have some of those places.
Yeah, well, we can get portables, and it's not, I'm not talking about like your outhouse portables, it's actually a trailer, which is really neat, because then they can haul them up, it's like pump them out, and they will pull the trailer out. And we looked at about 3 of them, so we have to handle what we're proposing.
I guess along with parking, can we include bike racks?
Yeah.
To encourage people to bike instead of drive?
Sure.
That's all I have.
Okay. Ms. Fish?
In the drawing you have where it's got the food trucks lined up, is the parking you would have beyond the food trucks then?
No, the parking would be more in the middle where you see all the rocks, the trucks would line the outside of the property. So the trucks would go up the side here, and then down the side there at the top, and then all your parking would be in the center. And we would do our best to mark the spots too, whether it be cones or just paint, regular paint on the rock.
So if you had cars in the middle, would there still be room for people to walk
Yes,
around?
yes, ma'am. Yeah, we park in Texas, we park them all around, which is nice, we're actually able to get we have a big U around the property too. But here, unfortunately, I don't have the U around it. I do have a parcel on the north side too that we can use, and Silver Linings would allow me to use their parking lot, but yeah, we would definitely have enough to be able to, I mean, unless it took off and grew, you know, that's the, of course, the biggest thing, yes.
And then don't we have, to have a food truck in the village, don't you have to have a certain license?
Yes, there are regulations. There are regulations relative to licensure, and it's an excellent question. And I'm sure that when we draft our ordinance and Mr. Garrigan's staff report will ensure that the applicants and the applicants' food trucks are all compliant with all local laws, including licensure provisions. So that would be a contingency. And I'm sure the applicant's gonna tell us right now that he's more than happy to get the license and follow all the laws of the village.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
They're all currently licensed and registered, and they have their service kitchens too. So at that time, we can provide, but they already operate in.
Okay.
Yes.
And then my other question was, so this, we do the food truck festivals throughout the summer in town already, so this would be like every weekend that food trucks would be available?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all year long?
Yes, ma'am.
I think that's all the questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Madigan?
I think this is a lot of food trucks to fit in that area, but I'm, obviously, as you map it out and have it drawn, trying to get a better idea. I am concerned about the parking. I like the idea of the bike racks too, maybe encourage people to bike there. I'd love to see something go into that corner. I totally agree. We need something there. So, I think we just need more information.
Yeah, I mean, instead of going with the big business, like I said, I can market it to big business, come in and, I'd be happy to grab that corner, but what is the town getting from it too at the same time?
Right. Yep. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez?
Mr. Patrick, I've worked many a year Christmas tree lots for the Knights of Columbus. So one of the questions I have for you is, tonight's the prime example. By 7 o'clock, it's pitch black dark. So we're talking full illumination for the lot year round, right? You're talking your business would run from Thursday to Sunday on a weekly basis. For what time?
We'll try to keep it till 9 o'clock. Okay. I mean, I don't really have any houses around me. The closest house would be a little bit of distance, and then the apartments across the street. But I'd like to keep it till 9 because I'd like to have a life too besides that.
Sure.
But I worked the Christmas tree too, because I know what you're going.
Now, having said that, going back to that topic, we also had a trailer. You know that it's gonna get 40 degrees tonight, and you need to have something there for people to actually work there. What is your concept? Will you have something in the middle
The people working,
permanently for people working the tree lot?
Oh, that would be me, but yeah, I'd have a little tent that would keep us warm too at the same time, but it's just like how we grew up too. You used to go to if you go to Smith South 173, or if you go to the lot down at 120 and 83, they have a little tent to keep warm, to have some hot chocolate, but that's it. You don't really have a lot of surrounding.
Right, because the corner that we used to take over for the tree lot was 45 and 73. There's where the food stand was.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And again, they had a perfect structure around there.
Yeah.
The other thing is, obviously, you're talking about you anticipate a grade at the parking. Will there be access? By the looks of it, to me, I drive by it every day, but I've never really taken notice. It looks to me that there's access both on North Avenue and on Route 83. Would you continue with that practice of keeping that
Yes, sir.
available?
I have 2 accesses on 83 and 1 on North Ave.
Now, the only other question I have for you, and I hope that maybe by the next time we see each other, you could bring in pictures of what you already have down in Texas.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that would obviously help your cause and legitimize your case to us.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm all for it. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. Mr. Turner.
So I work in Texas every week, so I'm down there all the time and in San Antonio. And there's a lot of things like this down there. Super cool. Like there's food trucks everywhere, there's bands playing, they have like turf down, and it to your point, it brings people together, there's community there, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of traffic, or foot traffic, I would say. So that's one thing. I think it's a great idea. I think it's super cool, and you'll be driving through parts of town, and all of a sudden there's just commotion, and it draws people in. So I love that. I do have some concerns about this piece of property, kind of where it is, and if you are going to do it here, I would be for it. I'd like to see maybe a little bit more thought going into kind of what some of the other commissioners have talked about with parking. So for instance, we all know that this intersection is pretty busy. And if you're flying through the intersection and you're trying to pull into this place quickly, so you're not getting rear-ended, and you're telling me that the cars are gonna be driving around in the middle where kids are gonna be sitting on picnic tables and eating. I have 3 young kids, I know how that goes, right?
Yeah, right.
So like, I'm not telling you what to do or how to do it, I'm just telling you that you have a secondary entrance on the north side of 83. And the good news is you have expansion up there as well. To me, it would make a lot more sense, and I think it would be a lot safer if you had a parking area that was separate parking where cars parked. And then you had an area for people to walk into that cars weren't driving around in, for people to walk where kids could run around, it was safe. Eat, etc. Walk around and look at whatever you guys are selling at that time. So that's one thing for me, is kind of like the flow of it being where it's at. If this was in a different location, I don't think it would be as much of a concern for me, but it's a pretty busy intersection. And again, I do like the idea. I would just really consider the flow of traffic. You said 9 p.m. So that is for your tree lot, or what is the hours of operation for the food trucks and like year round?
That would be all of them. I don't know how they operate in the actual town when they're doing the street walks and stuff. I don't know what their hours are for 10 here, or if they're 9.
I mean, my experience with them is when we have events, they come and go based on
Traffic.
foot traffic.
Yes.
So if there's no one there, they leave, right? So
Right.
what does this look like? Are they permanently parked there, or do they go home every night?
No, they will be staying there.
Okay, so they're permanently parked there, so then, is there some form of hours of operation that you are looking to put like in your agreement with them? Or is it going to be a situation where, you're leaving it up to the food trucks to decide their hours of operation?
I'm not leaving it up to them, because I'd like them to be open, and they wanna be open anyways. I think we're gonna probably stay with the 11 to 9. If we get a late night, like on a Friday, we might do 10, and I'll leave that up to them if they want to. But I'm not gonna turn families away that dad might be working or mom might be working, they wanna come get a Christmas tree though either.
Yeah.
So if I did stay open, it'd be like later on a Friday or Saturday night, would be 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And to the parking thing, I do have access to the lot north of me, and that's something I would have brought up in the next part. that is the village wouldn't give me the biggest problem with it, is it's not paved, but I have access to that lot north of me that we can park vehicles on.
Okay, yeah, I guess
And that's got its own entrance too.
yeah, my whole point is just separation of
Yes,
this.
I agree.
Yeah, I just think that's,
Trust me, they're running through parking lots in Texas, you know that, you see that, and it's like, no, it's just diving of kids and people everywhere to get to the facility.
Right.
I know what you're saying, they're running through the parking lot.
and then the only other thing I'll say, and some of the commissioners have said it as well, lighting is a big thing with us, so I would just make sure that it's really thought out. I see cool like string lighting and stuff like that at the places down in Texas. I mean, I bet you it would look super cool, but just put some thought into that just from a safety perspective, so.
Well, we were thinking 3 pole lights, one in each corner, and then the string lights. And then I'll leave it up to them, they have their own lighting, but we already talked to them about that, is if they wanted to put the string lighting out from their facility, each facility, that's gonna be left up to them. But for me, we'll have 3 pole lights and string lighting like that too.
Understood. All right, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Unfortunately, I have a host of questions. I like the idea of something happening to the corner, obviously. Concept seems interesting. Nice. The issues I have are, first of all, site engineering. What's the size of this property all the way to the north? Total size? Acre,
It's, yes, just over an acre.
just over an acre.
Yes, sir.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Garrigan, but just over an acre, don't we have to have something for stormwater management SMC?
It's over an acre, impervious surface is over an acre, yes.
So I've got to see some more plans, engineered drawings of the site, what's going to be included, what the layout is. I'm not a fan of having the parking just in the middle around a bunch of tables coming in. We have to have more information about turn lanes and security access for fire department. If anything happens to any of the food trucks, if someone has a problem, an accident or otherwise, we have to have access to get in. Has to have proper turn radius. Don't have any of that information. I mean, I like the concept. I'm not denying the fact that it sounds great, okay? And that you're coming in with a very rudimentary drawing is fine to get started. But we've got to have some more tangible information to work on. I got to have some elevations. You just heard us go through our lighting situation in the town. We've been trying to dial that in for years. And all of our stuff has 90-degree down. We don't let it project out or project in because it's going to illuminate to other people and interfere in their lives. Sound, safety, fire lane, turn radius, parking, access and entrance. Now, that's a whole nother ballgame. Anything closer to a corner, we usually do right in, right out. We have dedicated more information about that for anything that's going on. We already have issues with other properties like the coffee shop that's coming in next and a few other things around the corner. We try to keep to a regulation that hasn't or wasn't there before. It's a higher standard today than it was when we all moved here, unfortunately, but fortunately. Helps keeps, public safe. There's 22 to 24,000 cars that run up Route 83 every day. So we have to be careful with how we're getting into your lot from Route 83, or if we allow anybody to come in from Route 83, if we make them come in from the side road. Mr. Garrigan knows most of these things that challenge us on a daily basis from what we do.
The lot did have the in and out already on 83.
I understand that.
And if you guys can help me with people that are doing it already, cutting through there, that'd be great.
If we're gonna do something like this, I'm thinking more something of a special use. Mr. Garrigan, if you can give me some background, maybe some information.
We did talk about a special use because in
one aspect is technically this is not a line item, B2 zoning ordinance.
Right.
So it's not really defined. I'm not saying it's not a use that makes sense. It's just technically it's not a permitted use, kind of a gray area, or very unique use. So I would both, in their support, that's why Mr. Best wanted to come here before he actually goes through the process.
Sure,
That we.
I understand. I guess tonight would be a good question for this board. We can go around and ask if there's support from each one of us or not support to see this, work with staff and obviously proper professionals to help come back to us with something that's more tangible for a plan to help us out. That would be great. I'll run around and ask for a roll
So
call
I
for
had-
supporting.
I had a couple more questions.
Sure.
Before we do that.
Sure.
So how would you, market it? If we were to support the concept and we move forward, how are you gonna get people there? How are people gonna know what's on the food truck menus, what the hours are? And the other question that I have is about, the signage, if you have any idea. And again, I think it would be amazing to see what you have in Texas. And obviously we need some more concrete detail and plans, but, what kind of signage do you have, on your property in Texas, or?
We have a metal, it's actually cut out, it's like a big horseshoe up from each side. And
Okay.
it says the name of the place, truck stop basically.
Mhm.
So, the stars in Texas, lighting goes around it. It's real basic, not that aspect. Marketing wise, it's mainly all social media. And we'll have each truck's menu on there.
Okay,
And I do a lot with the village.
Yeah.
And a lot in the community already. I own the bread route and I used to deliver the bread to the community and Millie's.
okay,
And I was the crazy guy throwing out the buns at that 4th of July parade to everybody.
okay,
So marketing and sales is a big thing for me. So being able to market the business, that won't be an issue. Like I said, I want to have the village and I want to work with the village and really promote it. For Schoenberger, he grew up with me and he went Station 51. And so, we all know how to do it, but it's just working with the village, being able to promote it
Sure.
to maybe some of your sites too.
Yeah.
It's something it's a concept that's growing. Round Lake's already approached me to do it down there too.
oh, yeah,
I'm going through the
absolutely.
same thing in Round Lake
Right.
now.
And I've been to
doing the food
plenty
trucks.
of little food, I love a good food truck. I mean, like I said, super excited when Torpedoes came in there and they had one out in front of the lodge. And my other question, I guess, is for you, Mr. Garrigan, because I know that we, as a board, had talked about putting something, an ordinance or the food trucks. Did we ever do that, Mr. McCarty, or?
We did.
We did.
We have truck
Okay,
ordinance, you have to be registered and your regulations,
okay,
so.
how long ago did we do that?
2 years ago.
Okay,
2.5.
okay.
2 years.
Okay.
2 years.
Okay, thank you for the reminder. I thought we did do something because we've had interest, over the past few years, so. Okay, that's all I.
Am I correct in saying this, that the food truck has to have a home kitchen that they can go to and clean and keep things straight? So obviously the food trucks are coming and going a little bit.
Oh, yeah, they'll have to empty the tanks too,
Yes.
so they can't empty at the facility, of course. But they'll pull out to empty their tanks probably on a Sunday or like a Monday, come in there.
And we gotta come up with something for bathrooms or something for that too. I mean, that's a concern.
The bathrooms, I was doing the portables, they have the actual trailers that come in. And actually, you guys have had them here in the village, and they'll do the same thing. They'll pick them up and they'll drop them off.
Okay, again, I'll go around maybe and see if we have some support in San Filippo.
I would absolutely support and, once we had more detail.
Discussion.
Yeah, I guess just quickly on the bathroom trailer, again, we've all talked about parking and that's asking a semi or something, right, to come in
No.
and drop that off. It's a bigger vehicle, right? And so again, like, I just think when you're presenting this next time, we gotta be thoughtful about that. I think you're making an investment in the village, and so that's why I would be in support of seeing this progress.
Ms. Mish?
Kind of reiterate what everyone else said. I think it's a great idea. I just would like to see those things that we've talked about addressed in a more formal plan.
Ms. Madigan?
Same, I think we need to, continue to come up with new ways, to improve. And, food trucks are very popular. Again, need to see more, obviously, details, just like, I know commissioners have said. The area behind so the parking lot, that's the gravel, the area behind that, that's grass, is that flat? Is that all flat grass?
Yes, ma'am, this is. all-
Okay, so it's not all trees there,
No, this is all flat, and actually this is thinned out now,
okay,
and this is the access also here too, that we can have for parking. And when I was talking about like cars parked, we're gonna have the picnic tables here where the cars will be parking here. So there won't be picnic tables and cars in the same places.
Which area do you own?
I own all the way up to here, but I'm buying this.
You're
Yes,
opposed to purchase that?
yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's got I know it's a whole different thing that has an entrance off of Donnan,
Mhm.
which is different, but it also has this right here.
Right.
I would be in support of it with obviously a lot more information, what plans and.
Mr. Martinez?
Yeah, I'm supportive of it. I look forward to seeing your pictures and, your concept plan and, good luck.
Mr. Turner?
Yeah, again, support of the idea. I think you have a challenge ahead of you with the location of the property and the traffic. So the more, to what everyone is saying, the more everything is fine tuned, the direction and flow and the things that are thought out, the better. And I think you'll get more support in that manner. So.
So what we're looking for basically is just more of an standard plan of what this is.
Well,
I know this is basic, but before I go to pay an engineer or pay somebody.
I think that, one thing I think all the commissioners agree on is like, we would like to see a separate designated parking area apart from the foot traffic, for sure, right?
well, again, all that runs to one thing. That you're gonna have to have some engineered drawings put together. You're over an acre. That we're gonna have to justify everything that's going on there. SMC controls it, we don't. So you need to comply with a lot of things to be able to make sure that everything will fit in that property. We have everything for your entrances, exits, safety, parking, bathrooms, what the lighting's gonna be. So there's, quite a few things you have to go through to get accomplished, but yes, you're gonna have to have some engineer drawings to get that accomplished.
Right. And I think also, some of these food truck lots I've been to, they have live music, so we didn't even touch on that, so maybe when you come back, those would be things we would be looking at too, as far as the lighting, parking, the noise, that it's going to be in the community, so.
And obviously, staff is gonna work with you, after we get to that point, specifically about people who are, renting your spaces, what their compliances are, make sure everything holds true to our ordinances for the food trucks and what they have available, where they're doing their primary cleaning, how often, they're gonna be open hours. Just the basic information what we're gonna have to do for the special use to run through, so. All right,
Sir.
you got good support, so.
Excited.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you
you,
everybody for your time.
Yeah.
Sorry to keep you late.
No worries.
thank you.
You all set?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gary, is there anything else?
No, Mr. Chair.
For a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Second.
Roll call.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night.
Thank you.